welcome back to my channel. You may call me Miss Introvert. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thanks for stopping by again. I want to thank everyone who's been watching these videos, even if it is the tiniest handful, for your continued support. This is a safe place for introverts and writers. If you're an extrovert and you've been recently bored with your writing, then stick around. We already covered ideas, what to do with them, outlining the 3 Ps, person, place, and plot, a writing routine, setting goals, regaining your inspiration, and now, I had to look down because I don't remember all of these. Anyway, and now we're going to talk about the last of my writing experiment tips I have for you guys. Yes, this is the last writing experiment video that I'm posting, and whoever commented on the last one or whatever video that I said to comment on gets a shout out. So yeah, it's been a fun series to make, and I'm kind of glad it's over. I'm sad that it's over though, very sad. But I mean, so stick around for that as well, a shout out. But now we're going to talk about what to do when you're bored with your writing. Because if you're bored, then your reader is gonna be bored too. Before we begin, if you're new here and you haven't seen the previous, why can't I say previous? I say previous, like General Grievous. Before I begin, if you're new here, check out the previous writing experiment videos so as to not get confused. Like this video and subscribe to my channel with videos about writers and introverts that I upload every Tuesday. Comment down below what you're doing to make your novel more exciting. These are only some of the ways to spice up your novel, short story, poem, or whatever you're writing. It could just be a chapter right now and the rest of your book is flawless. But there are plenty of other writing formulas that can be tampered to the writer's style and preference. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Number 1, do some checking. Go back to your outline, and if you're bored, make sure that everything is the way that you needed it to be. Make sure that your vision is playing out the way you wanted it to. Edit your book to the best of your ability when your rough draft is finished. Then, take some time to reevaluate that vision by the time you're done editing your story. Is this really what you wanted to say in this chapter? Do you have to move some things around or even delete things? Don't be afraid to delete things though. And don't be afraid to add things, even if they're on a larger scale, but we'll talk about that later. When you do delete things though, don't just delete them for good. You should be saving your ideas that you've written for the future and saving ideas that you've deleted so you can recycle and reuse them for other stories. Sometimes you'll delete something and you'll realize, oh hey, I needed that in the future. So do your future self a favor. Number 2, remember what you're doing. Writing. If you haven't already noticed, the rough draft is a mess. And no matter what you do to make it better and more exciting, it's still gonna be boring during that first edit. Some parts might be good, but other parts might not even be boring. They're just trash. Who knows? Maybe you're reading your rough draft and you're having fun with what you said. You perfect writer. But there's always gonna be imperfections. Sometimes I'll be reading through my rough drafts and I'll realize that there are some things that I didn't want to say there. Some things I'll love and some things I'll despise. If you don't like something, then it's gotta go. Or there could be ways to improve it. And the good news is that your book's not done yet, so you can still experiment with your ideas. Do what you gotta do now before showing it to someone else. And remember that no one is watching you or waiting for you to get this done. You just worry about getting the writing done. And if you're running low on inspiration to write or edit, check out my previous video in the writing experiment series on what to do when you've lost inspiration. You found your inspiration, so you get to write about it, not the other way around. Number 3, go off course. You've already made a solid outline, so what's the point of going off course from the map that you've clearly already set up for your book? Well, if you're bored with your planned course, then your audience is gonna be bored too. You've gotta put yourself in your reader's shoes and have something unexpected happen. It might completely change the outcome of your story, or it'll tie into what you already planned. It makes the story more exciting and it pays off when giving your reader some more suspense. Kill off a character, make a new character. Have your protagonist make the ultimate choice, as long as it makes sense to the rest of the story. You don't want anything that'll throw off the atmosphere of the story or throw off your reader, or else it'll end up like a certain TV show that came out a while ago. It's so fun to experiment with though. I remember writing a fantasy novel, one of my favorites with amazing characters. I wish were put into memes. You know that feeling when like you go to Pinterest and you're like, oh my gosh. And you think to yourself, why don't my characters have like character memes already that people are putting incorrect quotes in? It's so sad. I should publish my books, but I don't want to right now because I'm too scared. Anyway, this isn't about me, this is about you guys. I remember writing a fantasy novel and adding in some extra scenes, and it was so exhilarating. You know that feeling when you write a suddenly moment and you, the writer, are like, wow, I was not expecting that to happen? Leave a comment if you felt that way before. Number 4, get an outsider's perspective. When trying to make your book more enticing, exciting, thrilling, or whatever adjective you had planned for your reader, sometimes you have to give the reins over to someone else. Once you've read and edited your story a number of times, at least 2 to 3 times, you can give your story over to someone else. You've probably run out of ideas to bring to the table, and even some of my inspiration tips aren't going to help you regain more. So explain and even show your novel to someone else. You don't have to be scared. Just make sure that you've edited your story at least 2 to 3 times before giving it over to someone else, so that it makes sense to your reader. Sometimes my stories don't even make sense to me. Sometimes I wonder if I'm insane. Leave a comment. I'm just kidding. I don't know, maybe you do think I'm insane. Anyway, this person may have different ideas on what you can do to make your scene better, and they might have better alternatives that you guys can get together and just like plot out something that makes more sense. Everyone needs help on the way to writing a book. Some of the greatest books ever written needed outside sources for their pages to make sense. C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were both writers that needed help from each other to make their books even better, along with Owen Barfield, Hugo Dyson, and Neville Coghill. They formed a club called the Inklings. Having a writing club like that is my dream. Hopefully going to university will make me more sociable so that I can actually pursue my major in creative writing and find some friends, and we can work on stuff together, and I can help them with their books and they can help me with my books or whatever the frick we're working on. But as for you viewers, who are probably regular social humans, don't waste your precious time editing your book 100 times. Go out and find people who will help you win over your readers. And don't forget to mention them in the acknowledgements. And those are just some of the ways you can tackle your chapters once they start to bore you. This is just my take on the subject. There are plenty of other ways to look at this concept, and you can modify my advice however you like. Make sure you subscribe if this video helped you regain some excitement in your story and you jotted some ideas down, and like this video if you're ready to write about them. Also, stay tuned for the shout out at the end of this video. Maybe later I'll have more content that involves shout outs. It means the world to me when you guys are supporting me on this YouTube path, and I want to give you all the recognition you deserve. These videos were so fun to make, and I'm glad you got to take the journey with me. Wish me luck in editing my lengthy rough draft that is a mess and a half. And I wish you writers luck in your endeavors. Well, that's all for now, folks. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, check out my blog, and find the writing help you need on my Fiverr account. All the links will be in the description below. And stay basic. Okay, bye!